Hey guys, it's me, Ron. When I first got my really first job as a designer, I was straight out of the army. In Israel, everybody has to go to the army. And I didn't have any formal design education. I just got this job because my friend worked there, and it was at a gaming company. And if you don't know, then what gaming company actually means is it's actually a gambling company, like online casinos and stuff like that. And I didn't know that when I first got there, but it didn't matter to me, because I got a job, I got a great salary, I got the opportunity to work at something that I really loved. So I just took the job and it was really fun. But after a while, I started to understand actually what I'm using my talent to sell, and that was like making people gamble more, spend more money. And I actually, while working there, I heard like horrible stories about people who their wife left them because they were addicted to gambling and they lost their home and stuff like that. And I started thinking, what am I doing? Is this what I'm using my design skills to sell and persuade people to do? And so after a while, I quit that job, and actually I went to work at an advertising company, which is only a tiny bit better on the ethical whatever ladder of creative jobs. But the reason I'm telling you this story is that I'm reading a book now that's called Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, and I'll link the book below. And this book, it's actually a book from the 70s. It's a psychology book about the thing that make the brain hacks that we have to persuade people to do things, and how to use those things and how to avoid being persuaded by other things. It's a really, really super interesting book, and let me give you an example from a story that he's telling in the book. For example, toy manufacturers in the US, they used to advertise a lot before Christmas, and what would happen is all the kids would tell their parents, "Oh, dad, please buy me this toy," and the parents would promise their kids that they would get them this toy for Christmas. And actually, when Christmas came, the toy wasn't available. It was out of stock, and the parent had to buy something else. And after Christmas, they would advertise it again, and the kids would say, "Dad, but you promised to get me the toy." And the parents would go and buy another gift and spend more money that they planned, because the thing he's talking about in the book, it's called the continuity principle, because you made a promise, so now you are committed to something that you already started, and you have to do it because you don't want to look inconsistent, you don't want to break your promises and stuff like that. And when I read about this, I was like, those goddamn toy companies, they're using mind tricks to make us spend more money. But actually, after I thought about it, it reminded me of a user experience principle called micro-commitment. So if you're a UX designer, or if you're designing applications or web application services, then you might know about a principle that's called micro-commitments, which is making the user do a really simple and easy commitment will later help make him do and persuade him to do something much more harder, or that otherwise he wouldn't do. For example, how a lot of applications ask you to connect with Facebook, or give you their email. So most people don't want to connect with Facebook or give personal information like this. So what a good UX designer would do is to ask something that's really easy to put before. For example, are you a male or a female, or just put your name inside, and then go in for a big ask like Facebook Connect, and the user will already feel like he's committed because he started the process and he's halfway there, or at least that's how he feels. So he wants to continue, he wants to get it over with, and then it will persuade him to do that. So it's actually the same principle, the principle of commitment. And while I hated the idea of toy manufacturers playing that trick on me, I found out that actually I'm, as a designer, I have to also use those, I would call them tricks or principles, to create good designs. Because when I'm providing a service for my clients, I have to create the design that performs the best, that converts best, that sells the best. So I have to understand all those psychological principles and I have to use them in order to be a good designer. And that actually made me remember the quote from Spider-Man, with great powers comes great responsibility. Because we as designers, if we really know how to do our design job well and persuade people and make them do the things that we want to do, we have great powers, because you can use those powers to sell, I don't know what, cigarettes or gambling, and you can use those powers to I don't know, make people eat healthier, or I don't know, spend more time with their family. I don't know, like good things in life. So I think it's very, very important to remember that we have great powers and choose our clients and our projects really, really carefully, to know that we're using our very important and powerful tool, design, for the good, and to make the world a better place. I know that sounds a cliche, but you don't want to use it to give the bad guys more power. So think about that on the next project, or even on the current project that you're working on. Have a super week.